All right, we are in part 6 of our series that has to do with social issues that affected me that I wanted to discuss with you, that it may affect you too. One is the way money is being handled with our economy and how we should be, if we're rich or poor. We talked about that in the previous parts of this series. Now we're going to deal with, in part 6, women being discriminated against. That is an issue for me. So the question is, what examples do we have of discrimination against women in the Bible? What sin has caused women to do? What has happened? What examples do we have? We're going to start out with Genesis 4 verse 19. Genesis 4 verse 19. Genesis, again, is the beginning of the Bible. It's the first book. And we're reading Genesis 4 verse 19. And it says, "And Lamech took unto him 2 wives. The name of one was Ada, and the name of the other was Zillah." So, I'm not going to read everything, but that was just pretty much telling us that we know that there was Adam and Eve. All of a sudden, after sin, men started taking more than one wife. So that's the first thing. Next, I'm going to read another verse. Genesis 19 verse 1 to 9. Genesis 19 verse 1 to 9. Okay, and it says, "After there came two angels to Sodom at even, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom, and Lot, seeing them, arose up to meet them, and bowed himself with his face toward the ground. And he said, Behold, my lords, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house, and tarry all night, and wash your feet, and ye shall rise up early and go your way. And they said, Nay, but we will abide in the street all night. And he pressed upon them greatly, and they turned in unto him, and entered into the house. And he made them feast, and did bake unleavened bread, and they did eat. But before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round about, both old and young, all people from every quarter. And they came unto Lot and said unto them, Where are the men which came in to thee this night? Bring them out unto us, that we may know them. Here's the part that got to me. And Lot went out at the door unto them, and shut the door after him, and said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. Behold, now I have 2 daughters, which have not known a man. Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do ye to them as is good in your eyes. Only unto these men do nothing, for therefore came they under the shadow of my roof. Okay. I could go further and tell you exactly what happened, but the issue for me is a father is going to send his children out feeling that it's better for his daughters to be abused than the men. These are things that get to me. Let me give you another text here. Another text. That got to me, guys. I'm sorry. That really got to me. Here's another one. We're going to read Judges. People don't want me to read this, but I got to read it because it's an issue. And that's Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges. Okay? Read Judges 19. Another example. And it's Judges 19. I'm going to read 1, 3 to 4. Let's tell you what happened. Here we go. And it came to pass in those days where there was no king in Israel, that there was a certain Levite sojourning on the side of the mount of Ephraim, who took unto him a concubine out of Bethlehem, Judah. A Levite is considered a priest. Like, they didn't have land, they didn't own land or anything like that, but they were considered priests. They were the ones that Jesus had set aside. Okay? He had a concubine. A concubine is a woman on the side. Okay? A concubine, I'll tell you more about, is a woman, and you can look online to find out about this, for the purpose of increasing your seed. If maybe the wife could not bear children, they would have a concubine to help make sure the seed of the Levite would multiply, to give you more boy children, more male children. That was one thing. Additionally, they were there for the sexual pleasure of their husband. And concubines was a way for women that couldn't get a husband, a way for women to get security and to get protected. Whereas sometimes, men have women all over the place and there's no protection. They don't have any guarantees. These women, because they were contracted to these men, they had rights and they were protected. Okay? So that was, women agreed to be concubines, sold themselves to be concubine, gave themselves in for, sometimes they were sold to be concubines. So here we have the Levite. So you understand what a concubine was. Let's go on to what happened next. And the concubine played the whore against him and went away from him unto her father's house in Bethlehem, Judah, and was there 4 whole months. She played the whore, sleeping around, and so that happened. Her husband arose and went after her to speak friendly unto her and to bring her again, having his servants with him and a couple of asses, and she brought him unto her father's house. And when the father of the damsel saw him, he rejoiced to meet him. Okay? I'm going to cut across to what happened. I'm going to tell you, paraphrase. The father was happy to see him and he entertained him for a few days. Kept him 3 days. He wanted to leave. He said, no, stay longer. He stayed longer. Okay? After that, the man said, you know what? No, I got to go back home. Okay? Let me and my concubine go. Please. Thank you for the entertainment. So he went to another area. While he was traveling, it got a little late and went to a certain village. An old man saw him and said, why don't you come and stay with me? I don't want you to stay outside. Why don't you come and stay by my house? Went by the house. Okay, let's see what happens. I want to read a little of what happened after that. Okay. So we're reading 19, Judges 19. Let's go to 15. And behold, as I said, there was an old man from his work out in the field at evening, which was also of the Mount Ephraim, and he sojourned in Gibeah. But the men of the place were mostly Benjamites, right? So I told you about the man, and then let's see what happened next. Let's go to 20 to 28, where it gets exciting. So what happens? And the old man said, "Peace be with you. Howsoever, let all thy wants lie upon me. Only lodge not in the street." Told him to come and let's lodge together. So he brought him into his house and gave him provender unto the asses, and they washed their feet and did eat and drink. Okay? Now, as they were making their hearts merry, certain sons of Belial beset the house round about, and beat at the door, and spake to the master of the house, the old man, saying, "Bring forth the man that came into thine house, that we may know him." They want to know him in the biblical sense, meaning they want to him. Okay? The man, the master of the house, went out to them and said unto them, "Nay, my brethren, nay, I pray ye, do not so wickedly. Seeing this man is come into mine house, do not this folly. Behold, here is my daughter, a maiden, and his concubine. Them I will bring out to you now. Humble ye them, and do with them what seemeth good unto you. But unto the man, do not so vile a thing." Let's go to the next part. See you soon.